I still remember one chilly Saturday morning when I visited my neighbor Joyce, who is 78 years old and brimming with stories about her grandchildren. She has an embroidered pillow on her couch that reads, "Family is everything." One day I noticed the pillow was turned face down, as though she wanted to hide that phrase. Her eyes were a little misty, and when I asked her what was wrong, she sighed and said, "I love them so much, but sometimes I feel like they don't understand me at all. Or maybe I don't understand them." That small admission cut right through me, because I've heard it from so many friends around our age. We cherish our grandchildren, but there's a gap, one that sometimes feels like a mile-wide canyon, filled with misunderstandings, missed calls, or conversations that don't seem to connect as deeply as we'd hoped. If you felt that longing for a closer bond with your grandchildren, you're not alone. Maybe you sense they're pulling away, or you can't keep up with their rapidly changing interests. Perhaps you worry that if you say the wrong thing, you'll push them even further. Yet this problem is rarely discussed openly. People might say, just let them be. They're kids, they'll come around. Or don't pressure them, just accept they're busy. But the cost of doing nothing can be heartbreakingly high. There's a risk your grandchildren might stop sharing their stories, their struggles, even their dreams with you. And once that distance grows, it can feel nearly impossible to bridge. The beautiful news is that this distance isn't permanent. In fact, family therapists and aging specialists now recognize that certain communication habits, often passed down through generations, can accidentally put up barriers between you and your grandchildren. Luckily, they're fixable. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore 6 common mistakes that can quietly sabotage your relationship with your grandkids. Each of these mistakes is easier to correct than you might think, and the rewards are enormous. Imagine your grandchildren actually seeking out your advice, calling you just to talk about their day, or eagerly letting you in on their secrets and challenges. Keep watching until the very end, because the 6th mistake is something so subtle that even the most loving grandparents can make it without realizing. And it's often the biggest game changer in improving those meaningful, heartfelt conversations. Think of this as an opportunity to step into a new chapter of your relationship with your grandchildren. One built on mutual respect, genuine warmth, and a sense that you're truly part of their lives in a real modern way. What I'm about to share isn't just my opinion. Professionals who study family dynamics have noticed these patterns in grandparents all over the world. Some of the best child psychologists also emphasize that the grandparent-grandchild bond can be one of the most influential relationships in a young person's life when it's nourished correctly. So before we dig in, I want to invite you to stay engaged. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now and tap the notification bell. That way you won't miss future videos filled with insights to keep your later years vibrant, connected, and fulfilling. And if you're ready to uncover a few truths that might surprise you, stay with me, because this may just change the way you connect with the youngest members of your family. So let's begin with the first mistake. It might sound so simple, yet it's one of the biggest pitfalls that can distance you from your grandkids, almost without you noticing. The first mistake: expecting them to communicate like you do. Most of us grew up in an era where conversation meant looking people in the eye, listening attentively, and patiently waiting our turn to speak. But these days, especially for younger generations, communication can be lightning fast, digital, and a bit scattered. A common misconception is that if the grandchildren truly cared, they'd pick up the phone or come by in person. It's easy to assume, well, if they're not calling, that means they don't value my time. But here's a surprising truth. Many younger people see texting, messaging apps, and social media as perfectly valid ways to build closeness. Take Henry, who is 74. He has 4 grandchildren, ages 10 to 18. For a long time, he insisted on phone calls every Sunday. No texts, no emails, no social media. He disliked the technology. They know my number, so if they really want to talk, they'll call, he used to say. The result was that he found himself waiting for calls that didn't come, feeling more and more resentful each week. His grandchildren, meanwhile, felt uncomfortable making formal phone calls. Some even admitted they found phone calls anxiety-inducing because they weren't used to them. The turning point came when Henry's 15-year-old granddaughter sent him a message with a funny family photo on a texting app. Henry hesitated but decided to download the app so he could reply. He was amazed by how quickly the conversation blossomed from a single photo to daily little updates about her day. Within a few months, they were closer than they had been in years. He realized that refusing to adapt was inadvertently shutting the door on many day-to-day conversations. If you're in a similar situation, consider embracing at least one of the ways your grandchildren already communicate. Download the social media platform they use, or learn how to text with emojis, even if it feels a little silly at first. The emotional benefit of doing this is huge. You'll no longer feel disconnected or left in the dark about their everyday lives. You'll also show them you respect their world, which can instantly boost how respected and valued they feel in return. Can you imagine checking your phone every morning and seeing pictures of your grandchild's new puppy or the latest joke they're laughing at? It might not be the same as a face-to-face hug, but it's a powerful way to keep the threads of love and understanding alive. Sometimes meeting them halfway is the best bridge to genuine connection. Now let's move on to the second mistake, giving advice too quickly. For many of us, we've spent a lifetime accumulating wisdom and learning from hard-won mistakes. It's only natural we want to protect our grandchildren from going through similar struggles. But here's the catch. Younger people today often interpret quick advice as a lack of empathy or an attempt to control their decisions, rather than genuine concern or love. There's a common misconception that offering advice early is a sign of caring deeply. While it may come from a place of love, it can sometimes feel dismissive to the person who's sharing. Look at the example of Gladys, 79, who prided herself on being a straight shooter. Whenever her grandson, Thomas, 17, complained about problems at school, an argument with a friend, or trouble with a teacher, she would instantly jump to, "Here's what you need to do." Thomas gradually stopped opening up. He told his mom he felt judged and was afraid his grandmother only listened so she could criticize or instruct. The surprising reality is that young people often yearn for a listening ear more than a swift solution. Sometimes all they need is someone who nods, smiles, and says, "I hear you, that sounds tough." The actionable step is simple. Practice listening without jumping in. Count to 5 in your head before you respond. And try to respond with something like, "That sounds frustrating. How are you feeling about it?" Or, "Tell me more about what happened next." That brief pause can shift the tone of the entire conversation and make your grandchild feel truly heard. The emotional payoff is immense. You'll establish a safe space where they can share their vulnerabilities, which helps deepen trust and closeness. Imagine how comforting it is for them to know you're there to understand, not to judge or solve everything at once. If you're still here listening to these insights, please leave a comment below with the number 2. It's a small way of letting me know you're finding this helpful. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Your support helps me continue bringing you more ideas to enrich your life and relationships. Let's continue with the third mistake, forgetting that grandchildren crave independence. Have you ever noticed how fiercely your grandkids guard their personal space and identity, especially once they reach their teenage years? It's normal to want to check in, ask if they've eaten, or if they've done their homework. But there's a common misconception that grandchildren want or need grandparents to become second parents. It's not always the case. Sometimes they just want a loving adult who trusts their judgment and celebrates their small victories. A classic example is from Lydia, 71, who had a habit of calling her granddaughter every morning to remind her to take her vitamins, finish homework, and make her bed. Lydia thought she was being supportive and caring, but her granddaughter, 16-year-old Rachel, felt smothered. One day, Rachel snapped, "You're not my mom." Those words stung deeply. The surprising truth is that even though they might appreciate the occasional reminder, grandchildren, especially teenagers, want to develop their own routines and responsibilities. They often prefer guidance only when they specifically ask for it, or they need a gentle nudge at the right moment rather than a constant push. A practical strategy is to replace daily checklists with occasional open-ended questions. Instead of, "Did you do your homework?" try, "How are you feeling about your workload this week?" Or, "Is there anything big coming up at school that you're excited or nervous about?" This shifts the focus from policing to partnering. When you do this, you'll likely notice your grandchild starts sharing more with you. Because they don't feel judged, they feel supported. The emotional benefit is that you both get to preserve their sense of independence while maintaining a close bond of trust and respect. Over time, they'll see you not as an authority figure who's always hovering, but as a wise ally who's there for them when they truly need it. The fourth mistake, letting technology create distance instead of connection. Now, I've already touched on how learning their preferred communication style, like texting, can bring you closer. But another hurdle is the assumption that technology is just for the young. Many seniors shy away from video calls, social media, or shared gaming experiences, thinking that's not for me. Yet the surprising reality is that technology can be the best way to be an active part of your grandchild's everyday world. Consider Carl, 76, who never saw himself as tech-savvy. One day, his granddaughter was playing an online drawing game and asked if he wanted to join. He was hesitant, but eventually decided to try for her sake. The experience was eye-opening. Through a simple game, they shared jokes, tested each other's drawing skills, and spent quality time that felt personal and real, even though they were miles apart. Little by little, Carl learned to use video calls and discovered that he could virtually attend his granddaughter's piano recitals. He felt present in her life in ways that phone calls and letters simply couldn't match. If you haven't yet, try picking one platform. Maybe it's video calls, maybe it's a simple game, and give it a go. Ask your grandchild to show you how. They often love playing teacher. It's a small step that can make a huge difference. Before you know it, you might be planning virtual dinners or watching each other cook a recipe in real time. The emotional upside is tremendous. Instead of waiting around for the next holiday or family gathering, you can have those sweet in-between moments together, sharing a laugh or a surprise as if you were in the same living room. That sense of day-to-day closeness can breathe new life into your relationship, giving you countless precious memories you might otherwise miss out on. If you're still tuning in, comment with the number 4 to let me know. Your engagement means the world to me and helps me tailor content that truly speaks to your life experiences. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Now to the fifth mistake, not acknowledging how fast the world is changing and how that affects your grandkids. Sometimes we see them glued to their phones or fascinated by trends that make little sense to us, like viral dances or online challenges. The common misconception is that this means they're simply wasting time. But the truth is, young people are growing up in a rapid, ever-shifting culture, and much of their social bonding happens through the very channels that might look trivial to us. Let me share a story about Herman, 80, who has a 14-year-old granddaughter named Lily. He'd scoff at every new fad she was into, whether it was a music video app or a social media trend. He'd say, "In my day, we talked face-to-face. All of this is nonsense." But Lily ended up feeling judged, as though her interests were invalid. Over time, she stopped sharing her world with him at all. One day, during a family gathering, Lily was giggling over some silly video with her cousins. Herman felt a pang of curiosity and asked if she'd show him what was so funny. She hesitated but slowly introduced him to the app. Surprisingly, Herman found himself chuckling too. That moment became a turning point. By meeting her where she was, even if it seemed silly at first, he opened the door to conversations about what she found exciting, what she was learning from friends, and how she was navigating school and social pressures. In short, he gained a front-row seat to her world. The takeaway here is not that you have to love every new trend. Rather, show interest, ask questions, and respect that your grandchildren's reality is different from yours at their age. This doesn't trivialize your own upbringing. It merely acknowledges that times change. The emotional benefit is deeper understanding and fewer conflicts. You become that cool grandparent who's open-minded, curious, and non-judgmental. And trust me, that's something your grandchildren will truly appreciate, even if they don't say it outright. They'll be more likely to invite you into their inner world, share their hopes, dreams, and even their fears, because they feel seen and respected for who they are today, not who they were 5 years ago. Finally, the sixth mistake, and arguably the most subtle, holding on to old wounds or grudges involving your own children and letting that spill over into your relationship with your grandchildren. This one can be tough to address because it involves family history, past hurts, and perhaps regrets that have never been fully resolved. But a common misconception is that kids don't notice adult drama. The surprising truth is that grandchildren, no matter their age, are often highly perceptive. If there's tension between you and one of their parents, they can sense it, and it can create a wall, even if you don't mean to. Take Susan, 77, who has a strained relationship with her son. They rarely speak to each other except through polite greetings on the holidays. Susan adores her 12-year-old grandson, but she notices he's become distant lately. He picks up on the tension between his dad and grandmother. He's heard bits of arguments in the past, and he's afraid taking sides might upset someone. This silent conflict makes him withdraw, and Susan is left feeling heartbroken that she's missing out on his life. The twist? When Susan decided to open a conversation with her son, acknowledging past hurts without demanding an apology, something shifted. She didn't pretend everything was fine, but she extended an olive branch for the sake of her grandson. Gradually, the family dynamic softened. Her grandson started opening up to her again, once he sensed there was no longer a tug-of-war behind the scenes. If you find yourself in a similar spot, take an honest look at any unspoken resentments. Can you talk them through with the other adult in a calm, constructive manner? Or at least make an effort to keep that tension out of your interaction with your grandchild? Children benefit from seeing healthy conflict resolution, and the emotional reward for you is enormous. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. Think of how liberating it would be to interact with your grandchild without that tight knot of discomfort in your stomach. Even small steps toward healing a rift can help rebuild the family bridge so everyone feels more at ease. If you've made it this far, please comment with the number 6. That tells me you've stuck through all these points, and I truly appreciate your dedication to improving the bond with your grandchildren. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your invitation. It might seem like a small gesture, but every subscriber reminds me that there's a community out there hungry for meaningful content tailored to our stage in life. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed. We explored how expecting your grandchildren to communicate in the same ways you do can create distance. Yet meeting them halfway opens doors to daily connection. We looked at how giving advice too quickly can make them clam up, while simply listening builds deeper trust. We emphasized respecting their independence rather than smothering them with micromanaging, and we discovered that technology, when embraced, can help you be a vibrant part of their lives from anywhere in the world. We also saw how crucial it is to acknowledge the rapid pace of change and the new interests that shape your grandchildren's realities, respecting their world instead of dismissing it. And finally, we addressed the powerful impact that unresolved family tensions can have on your relationship with your grandchildren, and how even a small step toward resolution can bring everyone closer. Picture how different your life could look if you begin applying these ideas right away. Instead of feeling like the grandkids are growing distant, you might be receiving unexpected text messages, photos, or calls just to say hi. Instead of exchanging a few awkward words at holiday dinners, you might be sharing inside jokes. Instead of worrying about whether they think you're old-fashioned or out of touch, you might become the grandparent they actually open up to about their lives, their relationships, and their struggles. The transformation can be profound, and you don't have to wait for anyone else's permission. You can start with something as small as sending a quick text or asking your grandchild to teach you a new phone feature. Begin by listening a little longer before you offer your thoughts, or make a gentle overture toward healing any lingering family drama that casts its shadow on your relationship with your grandkids. Just choose one small thing you can do today. In fact, right now, pause and think. Which one of these 6 mistakes resonated with you the most? Which one feels like an aha moment, something you suspect you've been doing without realizing the impact it might have on your grandchildren? Feel free to share that realization in the comments below and let me know how you plan to address it. This kind of sharing not only helps me understand where you're at, but it also encourages others who might be facing the same struggle. You never know. Your breakthrough could inspire someone else to heal a rift in their own family. I want to invite you to take another step too. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe, and consider sharing this video with someone you know who's also navigating the joys and challenges of being a grandparent. That could be a sibling, a friend from church, or a neighbor who's always talking about how they wish they were closer to their grandchildren. Each small share makes a difference and reminds me that there's a vibrant community of seniors determined to keep growing and learning well into our 70s, 80s, and beyond. You have more power to change this relationship dynamic than you might realize. Even if you think it's too late, the kids are already grown, or they've already formed their opinions, don't underestimate the ripple effect of genuine interest, compassion, and a willingness to meet them where they are. Generational gaps might seem daunting, but they can be bridged with curiosity, empathy, and the wisdom of experience. As we part ways for now, I hope you feel a renewed sense of hope and opportunity. Your role in your grandchildren's life can be tremendously influential. You have stories, warmth, and unconditional love to offer, gifts that can guide them in ways even their parents can't. Embrace these adjustments, and you'll see how these small shifts can create a powerful, enduring bond. Today could be the start of a new season in your family life, one where your conversations spark genuine joy, where your advice is welcome because it's delivered at the right time and in the right spirit, and where each day brings you closer, no matter the distance. I truly believe in your ability to make that happen, and I can't wait to hear about the transformations you experience in the coming weeks and months. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to connecting again soon.